Hey guys, Tony King here with the new After Effects tutorial. And this tutorial is thanks to a request from Marty McFerrer. He says, I'm trying to make a graphic with cool solids moving and a title in the middle. It looks sort of like how FIFA 17 sort of is looking for a small thing I'm working on. Any help would be appreciated. Well, thanks for asking me for the help, and I'd be glad to help. So, I don't know if you saw that I'm a FIFA 17 fan or a FIFA fan in general, because I have FIFA 16 down here. I don't actually have FIFA 17 though, because my laptop's a bit too old for it. But I assume you mean title in the middle, based on the middle of the image, and this is one thing I came up with, and also I came up with this, which has more of the colors of FIFA 17, I think. And yeah, let's go ahead and see what these actually look like in action. Alright, and there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to do how I normally do and show you what I did. I'm just going to go ahead and go through the entire process of making one of these, because I do think this shows in a number of ways it shows a lot of the aspects of making these motion graphics, and I think this is very useful. So I think this is a tutorial you should really pay attention to, and that I should put more time into. Okay, so as you can see here, I have my sound effects, solids, whatever from the other things. I'm not going to worry about those. So I'm going to start a new composition. I'm going to call this graphic tutorial. 6.28 seconds. Doesn't matter really the length. I'm just going to stick to 6 seconds. 1920 by 1080p. 16:9 ratio, that is 29.97 frame rate. Background color can be black, it doesn't matter. Okay, and okay, so this is not planned. I'm just gonna go with what I can come up with. So I'll stick with the FIFA 17 looking colors, I guess. I'll do deep yellow. I'm going to go ahead and do something sort of similar to this one, because it also shows some rotation, which I think is also another thing we should go over. Okay, so this color looks fine to me. I'm going to go ahead and lock this layer, because this will actually be the lowest layer we have. And now what I did with the corners, I found a darker color, so sort of like this. Still dark yellow, but it looks pretty grayish if you ask me. Then I'm going to turn the rotation to -45, just so it has this angle, this precise angle. This part does not have to be accurate whatsoever. I'm just going to put it in this corner, and then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and bring it up to the other corner and make it slightly bigger, sort of like I have here. Again, this is not exactly what I did before. Well, it's not the same project. I'm just gonna show you step by step what I did. To get to rotation, by the way, you hit R on your keyboard, and then you can write in -45. But feel free to go 45 degrees and flip up the angles if that's what you want. So now I'm going to make a new solid, and I want the brighter color, so I'm just going to go straight up yellow. And what I did here was I again rotated it -45. Let me write that in, -45 by hitting R. And so as you can see here, if I have this, it does not cover the entire screen, neither in height or length. So I'm going to hit S on the keyboard, and I'm not going to keep these locks so that they can actually change separately. I'm going to make it a bit taller, then reposition it here a bit, and then I'm going to make it a lot longer so it covers everything. But I don't want it to be over this other this other solid. So hold on, let me unlock this layer. So I'm going to bring it under actually both of them, just so I can keep these other solids together. And so now you see we have the general design that I had on my other design from my example. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these other layers so that when we edit something on top, when we click, we are not clicking the bigger solid layers that are under this. So what we see in my other example, we have these moving solids, or in this one it might be easier to see, these moving solids that move across, and they're actually all just copies and variations of the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new solid, and I'm going to go ahead and make it this dark yellow grayish looking color. And I'm going to solo this layer, and I'm going to find this grid and guide options here at the bottom. It's next to the toggle mask visibility on this bottom side, and I'm going to click it and hit proportional grid, and what you'll see is this green grid shows up, and this will not show up in your final product, but it is something I find useful. So I'm going to go up here to the pen tool, or hit G, and I'm just going to hit one of these angles, these corners, and then go up and just make the shape I want. And with this, it allows me to be a little bit more proportional. So I think that looks good. I can go ahead and turn off proportional grid by re-clicking what I had, and I'm going to unsolo this layer. So now we see it on top, a good contrasting color. Okay, so this is our main solid. And now, as you can see, my anchor point is not where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Y, which is the anchor tool, and I'm going to drag it to the center of this object, of the solid, excuse me. Okay, so now we have our basic solid. And okay, so now let's hit scale, and we don't want this to be on constrained proportions, so that we can edit each aspect. And as you can see here, if I edit this, the horizontal length, it will get longer. If I edit the vertical size scale, it gets skinnier. And this is basically what I did with each solid. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and position them in the where I want them to finish. Okay, so let's say I want this one to finish over here. Now I'm going to duplicate this and say I want this one to be a bit smaller and fatter. So I'm going to make it vertically longer and shorter. This is where I want it to end. And let's add a third one on the top, which is longer and just a tad skinnier, say 31. Now these can be very personalized. They don't have to be specific. I'm going to go ahead and make this 28. Just makes it a little better. And I'm going to make this one a bit longer. Okay. And when changing these sizes, it does sort of add a little bit of depth to, it makes it sort of seem as if this fatter one is closer to the screen, sort of. I know that it sort of works here. I like how it looks there. I'm actually gonna bring this in here and bring this over and make this skinnier, just by after having seen what I had made in my example. It's a little bit off. Okay, and that's the top. So now I'm gonna go ahead, and what I actually did was I didn't really change the settings for the ones on the bottom. I basically just repositioned them. So I'm going to just bring this down. Right here looks fine. Then I'm going to duplicate this one as well. Drag it down to the bottom. Put it over here, and finally this one over here. And now to make this a little bit better, I am going to go ahead and change some of the scaling. I'll make this a bit longer. Okay, and that's different enough. But okay, so now what we want to do is affect the position. So we decided at the start that this would be our final position, and make sure you do remember that this is your final position because this will affect well, your design. Okay, so let's select all of these layers and hit P for position and hit the stopwatch. But go to the scratch everything I just said. Go to the very end of your composition, hit P on all of them, and hit the stopwatch. Okay, so because this is our final position, we want it to come at the very end. Now let's go back to the beginning. And this process will take a little bit, but not too long. So what I want to do here is I want to edit where they start from. And I want them to come out of something. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this one all the way over to be on top of this one. Oh, I feel like the color is a bit off. Well, actually it's not. It's computer. Sorry. Okay, so that's all the way on top. And we'll worry about this other background layer that it goes over later. Then we can just go through this process with each one, just making sure that it's off the screen at the start. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this section. Okay, and so here we have our basic animation. As you can see, it's not too fast. Okay, it's running a bit slowly, but it's not too fast. And as you can see, we come in from different directions, from off screen to finish on screen. So I think that looks pretty good. And what I actually had done on this other graphic, I'd made them slow down in the middle when the words come out, which that's, I don't know. I like it better like this, let's just say. Okay, and what I also had on the other example is I had these solids moving diagonally across these lines. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on this one as well. So to make these, well, let me close all of these to save space. I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new layer, and I'm going to make it this gray, pale yellow solid. It looks gray to me. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process to make the other solids, so proportional grid, and make our shape. So with the mask tool, G, and go ahead and make this pretty proportional as much as you possibly can. Okay, and there we have it. So unsolo this, and now again we want to move the anchor point to the middle so it's easier to edit. And go ahead and scale it down to the size we want. Take off constrained proportions, of course. Okay, that's a bit long. Okie dokie. So now we have to turn it at the angle. So hit R and negative 45 degrees. And bring it over to our end position. Over here, let's say it goes from top to bottom. Okie dokie. And now let's duplicate this layer and bring it over. We want it to finish up here, but we want to make it a bit shorter so it doesn't completely go off screen. And now I'm going to duplicate this layer again. That is Control D if you did not know, and bring it over to this side. Go to Layer at the top, hit Solid Settings. Now I want to change this color to this yellow in the middle, and I'll just change the make it short and fat. Well, how about that? Okie dokie. That's how I like it. Okie dokie. Okay, sorry. I keep saying that. Okay, now we want to go to the very end of our composition. Select these three solids, hit P, and hit the stopwatch. Now let's go to the very beginning, and we can't really edit or just affect the position. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just drag it. And as you can see, the farther we go, we get this line. And as long as you have the anchor point at exactly on the line that we're following, then just keep it straight. So as you can see, mine's not perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and fix it. And there you have it. We have this straight line coming across our solids. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process with each of these solids so that they all do the same thing. Okay, and here we have our completed animation with the solids. But as you can see, this does not look that great as it's going under these dark solids on the bottom and not over this. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select all of these dark solids that we made, just so we can keep them together. Don't worry about the solids that go diagonal. So I'm going to go ahead and select them all and hit Control-Shift-C, which is for Precompose. And I'm going to call these moving solids. That's what I called the other one, but I misspelled it, so I can do this the same. We don't need to open new composition, but we do want to move all the attributes into the new composition. Okay, and that just creates a composition out of that. And what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and make a mask. So using the mask tool, and just make a mask around this corner. Then we want to hit M and add the transfer mode to subtract, so it won't show up anything over there. And let's see, the line is nearly perfect. Can perfect it, and there we go. So now the solid moving lines will come out from under there. So that looks pretty good to me, and they will also be under these other diagonal moving solids. And now we're at the point where we make our text. Now the text I made in my example, there's this funky thing over here, which I think, I don't know, come to think of it, I don't actually like it that much. So I'm just going to do a generic looking thing, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new solid, make it this dark color, and bring it to the top. I'm going to solo this, and I'm just going to make a proportional grid again, and make our same shape for a third time. Okay. And now we want to get off proportional grid and unsolo this layer. And we want to again move the anchor point to the center. I would advise you to go ahead and make sure that your anchor point is in the right place, because later that will be a hassle. So now we want to go to align, which might be down here in this bottom corner for you, but I moved it up here to give me more space on my timeline. And just align it to the center and to the middle, just to make it a bit more professional. Okay, and I'll make it a bit longer. Now I'm going to make a new text layer and write in Tony King. That's my name, Tony King. I don't know if you knew that. Whoops, my bad. Okay, I'm going to lock these layers so I don't do what I just did. Now I'm going to bring Tony King into this and scale it down. If you've seen my logo, you know this is basically what it looks like. So I like this shape, I guess. And here it fits in fine. So let's say we want it towards the middle. Okay, so I would affect the scale to make this sort of grow in, But since the mask has these angles, we can't really do that because then it will be funky. Let me just show you. Not like that. It won't really work. Well, actually, since we want it to go from one side to the next, here's the anchor tool. We would have it on the far left side. So we read from left to right. So we have it come in from left to right. So if we scale it all the way down, we can put it to 0 and it not show up. But then when it comes out, it does not look perfect, because as you can see, that angle has to adjust, and I don't really like that. So I'm gonna hit M, and this just adds a little bit of knowledge that you get from this tutorial for mask path editing. So this would be the keyframe we just made with mask path would be our final keyframe. So I'm going to bring it up just some frames, and I'm going to go in and edit this mask. So this works as like any other mask, and actually just hold down shift so that your line stays straight. And I'm going to zoom in, and as you can see, the angles aren't exactly the same, but we can go ahead and perfect it like that. And as you can see, you can sort of still see it, but I'm going to go ahead and decrease the length of the clip of the solid so that it comes in from there, and it looks fine. But now, as you can see, our text layer is of the darker yellow from our bottom clip, from our bottom solid, and you can see it over this yellow. So we basically have to repeat the same process here. And you might be asking yourself, why can't we just copy the mask from here to there? Because that's basically what we're going to do. Let me show you. Control C and paste. And now, where's the mask? I don't know. It's all the way down here. So you'd have to reposition the mask. It's a whole crazy process. So I think it's easier just for practice, and just to be a little bit more precise, to just go ahead and do it manually. So delete that, and let's go ahead to the end here. And to be more precise with our actual motions, we want to just mask around as best we can our actual background solid. And here you go. And let's leave it on add so that we can see that, and hit M. Mask path and go to the beginning. So let's go ahead and close this mask to as best as possible. We don't have to fix it like the other one, but just so that we can tell that they're together, I'm going to shorten the clip. And now, as you can see, the text fades in or comes in at equal times with our solid. So in this part of the tutorial, we went over how to do these positioning keyframes, precomposing, masking out sections so that you can't see them, making a pretty neat background here, masking on text and and a lot of solids, and also positioning diagonal, which I think that's a lot of things to go over in one tutorial, and it's a great thing. But one thing I did have in this other one is, as you can see here, on videos, the opposing colors for each side, and I just wanted to go over that. So making this actual look is pretty simple. So what I did was, if I can find it, okay, here we go, is I had two solids, one solid background, which is medium blue, covers everything, and then one of this turquoise, medium green, whatever they want to call it. I just made a small angle in the center and put it on top. And then these are my moving solids here under it, which, since they're the same color, they don't have to be under it, but just for fun. And then I had actually, let me see, on king I had to edit the mask so that, because I just put the position to be on the green and on the blue, because when you're on the same color you can't really see it. But if you don't have the mask, then all the words would be over each other. So let me see if this will work, showing you. If I turn down the mask opacity, well, never mind. But the letters go on top of each other and it doesn't look good. So I just had to edit the mask, and I just edited the mask position to stay on this line so that they came out fine. But as you can see, what I really want to show you in this is the videos as the letters change color. So what I had was, I had a solid layer that just had videos. That's blue. So the rest of the word is covered. The rest of the word is covered on the blue side because we can't see blue over blue. Then I duplicated that layer and I changed the color to this green and simply put a mask onto the angle. And then I just edited it coming out as with the same as the other one, and it works out fine. So that works out pretty great. This is what we made together. This is what I made to show you guys, and this is the other thing I made to show you guys. So I hope this answers your request. I hope it teaches a lot of things to you who just watched this out of pure want to watch this. I think we did go over a lot of important things in motion graphics and motion design, which I think is very, very good. So I think this is a very useful tutorial. So please tell your friends, classmates, to check out this tutorial if they're seeking to learn. I hope you like this tutorial, so go ahead and like it down there where you like it. Comment for any other tutorial requests. I'm going to actually work on a Doctor Strange mirror dimension tutorial, which should be pretty awesome, so make sure you subscribe so you know when that comes out. And also for any other tutorials, I've made 3 Doctor Strange tutorials which are pretty popular on my channel. Can't say they're very popular actually because they only have a few hundred views, but for my channel that's a lot. So appreciate you watching this video, and thanks. See you next time, or hear me next time. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I'll talk to you next time, okay?